A reading from the Holy Gospel according to St. Matthew. Jesus went into the region of Caesarea Philippi, and he asked his disciples, "Who do people say that the Son of Man is?" They replied, "Some say John the Baptist, others Elijah, still others Jeremiah or one of the prophets." And he said to them, "But who do you say that I am?" Simon Peter said in reply, "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God." And Jesus said to him in reply, "Blessed are you, Simon, son of Jonah, for flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my heavenly Father. And I say to you, you are Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of the netherworld shall not prevail against it. I will give you the keys to the kingdom of heaven. Whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven." Then he strictly ordered his disciples to tell no one that he was the Christ. The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. Well, hello there. Old Father Francis back with you once again on this 21st Sunday in Ordinary Time. Well, our readings are possibly challenging this week, and to that extent, I think I'm going to kind of move in a direction that will be hopefully not totally confrontational, but something that will be thought-provoking. So here we go. Our first reading talks a little bit about how God is going to replace. He says, "Thus says the Lord of Shebna, master of the place, I will thrust you from your office, and I will pull down you from your station. On that day I will summon my servant Eliakim, son of Hilkiah, and I will clothe him with your robe, and gird him with your sash, and give him over your authority." And then Jesus asks us in this gospel, who do the people say that Jesus really is? And so he sets up this question that really can only be answered with, if you will, true enlightenment from God. So where am I going to try to, fashion these readings as far as my little homily this weekend? Well, one of the things that in the last, say, 18 months I've been constantly enlightened and learning more about health and nutrition. And one of the things that has made a real impact in my life is beginning to question some of the things that I heretofore have neglected to question. Things like, what kind of food, quote unquote, am I really eating? Not just overeating and eating clearly things that we would know are not good for us. And we can, most of us could say, don't try to eat too much, fat or sugar. That's a bad one too. Don't overeat, junk food. And those are things I think most people know. Don't drink a lot of soda, things like that. People know that's, everyone knows that. So that's no big, secret. But the thing that I am beginning to learn, and actually this is where I'm getting into my the homily this week, is questioning things. Like, one of the things that you begin to learn as you begin to kind of really focus in on health and nutrition is looking at not so much the food as, okay, that's a good food and that's bad food. And by the way, I'll talk about a video that I'm going to upload to this particular channel entitled Bad Foods. But we'll talk about that in just a moment. But really looking at the quality of the food that we eat and really saying, wait a minute, what's in this product? For example, I have I guess I won't try to put the label on here. I guess that might get me in trouble. But this is a container of coconut water. Now, it's interesting when you start to to read the ingredients. I don't know if you do that yet. I've done that sometimes, only to look at the calorie content, but kind of avoiding everything else, which was actually the wrong way to look at it. But I want to know what the ingredients are. And the ingredients in this particular product are ingredients. All natural coconut water, period. That's it. Interesting. A lot of things that we ingest have lots and lots of chemicals, and I'm going to get to that in just a moment. Here's a little tin of fish fillets or herring fillets that I also bought earlier this evening, and let's read the ingredients in this. This has ingredients: herring fillets, cracked pepper, salt. Period. That's it. Let's have one more example. Here is a bag of nuts, and the ingredients in the nuts are, where are the ingredients? Oh, here we go. Pistachios, sea salt, period. Interesting. Now, if you compare that, and I'm going to ask you to do this. I'm going to do this little homework assignment for you. Go and look up the ingredients in, say, a can of Pringles. That's all I'm going to say. Go look at the ingredients list in a can of Pringles. And begin to look and read all of those chemicals, preservatives. Another one that you might want to think about seriously is the Monster type drinks, the energy drinks, I should say. If you read those labels, those in quote-unquote ingredients, stop and ask yourself, what are half of those ingredients anyway? A lot of people have said that those types of energy drinks are nothing more than a science experiment in a can. Okay? So again, go back and read the ingredients in, say, a can of Pringles and a can of your favorite energy drink. And just think about that, because those are things that you are taking into your body. And when we do a lot of things to our bodies, we don't think about it because we just don't, we don't really suffer any adverse reactions now. Not now, maybe. But eventually, it does add up. The problem is that many of these ingredients, quote unquote, are foreign to our body. Our body does not really know what to do with those things. Again, it would be like taking a little vial of mercury, and everybody knows that that's highly toxic. And if you've ever looked at mercury, it doesn't get ingested. It just floats around in your body. I mean, it will get, it doesn't assimilate, I should say, into our bodies the way real, natural, healthy food does. It will poison our bodies because it's a toxin. Okay? So we have to ask questions. We have to ask questions, what's going on. In our first reading, it talks about how this one individual named Shebna is going to be basically thrown out of his office. Everything that he once had is going to be gone. Everything that he once enjoyed is going to be given away to somebody else. His robe, his sash, his authority. It's going to be given away. Because why? He was not a good steward of what he possessed. And in many ways, we make choices every day that will determine the kind of future we're going to have. If we continually mistreat our bodies by ingesting things that are not good for them, eventually we're going to substitute our authority for, say, the authority of, say, some doctor who's going to be making decisions now about our health because the decisions that we chose not to make positively are going to catch up with us. And so maybe we'll go to the doctor and we find out we have type 2 diabetes, we have hypertension, we have, We have other diseases that, unfortunately, the choices that we made in how we were ingesting things that were not good for us will now have, unfortunately, negative consequences. So instead of being able to walk, we might get the option of having a little motorized chair, because we're either overweight or we have problems with our legs because we can't walk anymore. Maybe our eyesight's going because we did not take in the right nutrients. So there's a whole host of things that will happen if we continue to choose and make irresponsible choices in the things that we ingest on a daily basis. And so basically we're either going to invest in our health or we're going to invest in our pharmaceuticals. And the problem is that when we start going down the pharmaceutical road, they've kind of got you at that point. So the thing is, if we're eating healthy and we're doing good things and we're questioning, this all starts with questioning, then we make good choices that will hopefully help us to follow another path that will lead to health and even vitality, and not disease and disease in our lives. But again, it comes from questioning, reading a label and saying, well, what's in this? Because many of the things that we buy in the stores really aren't food. They might taste good. Again, a lot of times those are nice, wonderful chemicals that are given to us to excite our taste buds and even set up some kind of form of addiction. We all knew about the cigarette companies putting in special chemical additives to make things very, very toxic and addictive. And I think a lot of the food manufacturers do the same thing. So we have to be really careful. So it starts with questioning, simple questioning. You go in and you ask yourself, is this something that my body is going to say? Once I give it to my body, a friend of mine said, your body's really going to thank you for that. And I always thought that was kind of a strange question. What do you mean my body's going to thank me for that? Because a lot of the things that I used to eat, I would feel either, oh yeah, they would taste fantastic. Big Mac. Oh, I used to love Big Macs. Okay? But the problem is that the Big Mac didn't love my body. And my body didn't really, I liked the flavor of a Big Mac, but my body just did not really process that kind of food very well. And so I began to ask questions. And those questions led me to really look at, what I was taking in on a daily basis, how it was having an effect, positive or negative, on my body, and what I could do to change things for the best, for the better. Well, I think that now that I've kind of got on, I'm going to get off my soapbox now on my little health kick here. Many of you put up with me so wonderfully. That, your father's in his health mood regime now, so we got to put up with that for however long he stays on it. But the thing that leads me to this gospel is, we question, Now, a lot of times people think that we question the authority of Jesus, the teachings of Jesus, the teachings of the church, the authority of the church. That's not what I'm talking about. Not at all. But I am saying we need to question, how do we really interact and relate and know who Jesus is? Because that's the most important thing. Who is this Jesus? Interestingly, he says, who do people say that I am? That's kind of like this big, almost kind of like one of those hint things. The I am, the great I am. Who do people say that I am? It's like, okay, guys. I think Jesus is always giving the guys, the disciples, these cues, these clues, these hints. And they don't quite get it, Again, going back to a gospel a couple of weeks ago when the people were listening all day and then they were going to be dismissed so they go get some food. And here Jesus is the true bread of life. And he says to the disciples, you give them something to eat, knowing that they had within their midst the bread of life. And now he says, who do people say that I am? I mean, do you see how that is? It's almost a little blatant, I know, but but it's powerful. So we question our response to this mystery of Jesus, because it is kind of a mystery. At the very end, he tells them not to say anything. And even though Peter says he gives the right answer, in some ways, the right answer still isn't quite enough. Because even though they could say the words, Jesus is the Son of God, but they wouldn't really be able to truly experience that until they lived through it. And they had to live through it through the Passion. And it makes me, again, question my own life. Maybe you questioned your life. Where do you really find true meaning in life and happiness? A lot of people, I think, are really looking to find that answer. What's going to really make me happy? Now, again, I'm not talking about passing pleasures. I'm not talking about, again, eating a Big Mac would make me happy probably because it would taste so good, or a pizza. Those things taste good, and as you're eating them, there is a level of enjoyment that's very enjoyable. But again, that doesn't really satisfy. It doesn't bring real happiness or real joy. And I had a little experience this past week, and I'll kind of begin to close my homily with it, that some dear friends who have had some real problems, that one of the things that they, as I would visit them periodically over the last 4 years, as they were going through some real struggles. One, health struggles. My friend got really sick, still doing well, but still struggling physically, getting better, but not quite 100%. And but their whole thought was, well, if we can just sell our business and move to Wyoming. I think it was Wyoming, or maybe it was Montana. I can't remember which. And they were going to go and live with some friends, and these friends were going to, kind of help set them up for, I don't know if it was a new business or obviously a new place to live. And they would talk about, when we move to Wyoming, things are just going to be great. And for the last 4 years, it's all about moving to Wyoming, and that was going to bring them happiness. And I don't know if they really stopped to question that, I think that it's important that we stop and ask ourselves what really has the quality, not just something that's temporal and maybe pleasurable, but something that's going to bring about lasting, say, peace. And the thing that hit me was just the other day, I was down there and I got word that these friends of mine, they said, well, we're going to sell the business. I said, oh, you're going to move to Wyoming now and live your dream. And they said, nah, that didn't work out after all. But for 4 years, they believed in their heart of hearts that was the answer. That was what was going to make them happy. And I think a lot of us do that. We set ourselves up for a real heartache when we do that, without really questioning. Again, going back and questioning, what is really my response to the Jesus mystery? The Jesus question, who do people say that the Son of Man is? And how do I respond to that? What is my real life response? Again, it goes back to, basic health things. Am I really reading things correctly? Maybe that's another way of looking at it. Am I reading the mystery of the Jesus event? Am I reading him correctly? And so tonight, as I kind of finalize this homily, I'm going to just leave you with a question. Ask yourself, what is it, that really, calls you to follow Jesus? What is it that you're looking for? Have you found it yet? Ooh, that's a good one. So again, it's okay to question, again, because I think it's questioning our own commitment to following Jesus. And as I close this video, I wanted to say that I'm going to be uploading another video, again, on health and nutrition. It's going to be entitled Bad Foods. You might want to watch the video. It's a really great video, recorded a couple nights ago at Elk Grove CrossFit. Wonderful place. If you get a chance to ever check the Elk Grove CrossFit people out, wonderful people. Might be something you might be interested in. So again, but they have sometimes they have classes on health and nutrition, as well as, of course, exercise. Great exercise program. So, but again, this class was given on the 21st, I believe, or actually the 20th, Wednesday, a couple nights ago. And so hopefully you'll get a chance to watch that as well. And maybe it'll help you to ask some new questions that will help lead you into a new way of living. Okay, thank you for watching. God bless you. Bye-bye.